Yep. All right. Now from Capitol Hill to the White House after Joe Biden gave his final interview as president last night over on MSNBC.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us now. Hey, Peter.
Good morning. And the thing that people loved about Joe Biden forever is that he was kind of an open book. He always joked that he would get in trouble because he says what he means and he means what he says. But he has had nothing to say about Nancy Pelosi's role in squeezing him out. A big part of the reason that he was removed from the ticket. Of course, it doesn't help when the exit interview on MSNBC last night doesn't ask him about her. But we do have a brand new window in the last hour or so into the way Chuck Schumer helped get rid of Biden. Just published in the New York Times about a meeting this summer in Rehoboth, Delaware. Schumer said, if there's a secret ballot in the Senate, Mr. President, Schumer said, my guess is you get at most 5 yeses. Really? Mr. Biden responded. I know my caucus. Mr. Schumer told him, you know, I know my caucus. And Mr. Biden nodded, despite the fact that Democrats then elevated someone who never got a primary vote to the top of the ticket. The president says the real threat to democracy is in the future.
I really am concerned about how fragile democracy is. I guess what I'm worried about is that the thing that keeps it on track are the guardrails. There's a Supreme Court that's independent, but accountable. There's a Congress that you speak your mind, but you're held accountable to basic standards. There's a presidency that says you have really limited powers. I mean, you're the top dog, but you're not. You can't dictate everything. And I don't know, we just seem to be chipping away at all those elements.
Later on this afternoon, President Biden is going to deliver remarks to the Conference of Mayors here in Washington. Then he's got a trip listed to join Pace Andrews, even though he's not flying anywhere. So he is either going to thank the Air Force One and Marine One crews or maybe welcome a special guest. We haven't been told yet. Back to you.
Interesting stuff. Peter, I've got a quick question for you. That was his last interview. Nobody over the last 4 years has gotten Joe Biden to say more about stuff he didn't want to say than you did. You were constantly barking questions at him. And most famously, you yelled at him about inflation and he called you a stupid SOB. Since this is your last Friday at the Biden White House, I know we can tell the story now. He actually called you when you were live on Special Report with Bret Baier, and he told you something that nobody knows.
He did. I feel like I can say this now because it never happened. He called me, and initially he told me it's nothing personal, pal, that he said a bad word. And he also said, and this was at the tail end of COVID, he said he would have me in for lunch when it was safe. Right. Well, I think his lunch card is probably filled. It never happened. So it was never safe to have lunch with me.
Yeah, no kidding. So, and when Jen Psaki left a couple of years ago, on the way out, when you famously took a picture with her, you asked her, now he's going to remember about the lunch, right?
The lunch never happened. Yeah, I've told many people about the lunch. The lunch never happened. I did not pack a lunch today. Fridays, I'm usually out of leftovers, so we're out here.
So in other words, if somebody from the White House is watching right now, you are available to have lunch with the president.
I don't know how many TVs are still turned on in there. It seems like people don't want to watch the coverage of what's happening. In fact, I was walking through the press area, and a lot of the picture frames are empty now. I don't know if this is people from the press who are just taking pictures off the wall or if the Biden people are going to take pictures of the president, but there are empty picture frames, and I think a lot of turned off TVs inside right now.
All right, Peter. Thank you for revealing that big secret. He promised you lunch, and he never did it.
And he called.
Promise broken.
And he called you. What was the pony soldier?
Horse face. That was before he was president. He said I was a one-horse pony. And you know what? I will always try. I don't know. I have not covered the Trump White House much, but covered him over the last 10 years or so. Very interested to see what kind of creative nicknames he could possibly come up.
Well,
I'm
if
sure
Donald
he's
Trump,
watching right now. He's got a whole plane ride to think about.
Right. And Peter, if Donald Trump invited you to lunch, you would have lunch. Just saying.
Hey, Mr. President, I'll be here on Monday. So if Obama and Bush and Clinton are going to skip your inaugural lunch, I'm free. I can be there.
All right.
All right, thanks,
Always
Peter.
looking to
Thank you,
the
Peter.
noon meal. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.